I'm Sara, 62.
Sitting in my study, looking at the photos of my son and grandson on the wall, I can't help but recall the stormy past few months. 3 months ago, my son, Alex, finally filed for divorce from his manipulative wife, Lily. It was a long, awaited victory in the battle for my family. It all started when my grandson, Ethan, was born. I was so excited, clutching the little yellow duck toy I'd prepared weeks ago. I rushed to the hospital, only to be stopped by a young security guard at the maternity ward. "Ma'am, Mrs. Lily only authorized close family," he said with a look of apology. I was stunned. "I'm Sarah, Ethan's grandmother." But he checked his list and found no trace of my name. He called up to the room, and when he hung up, his expression told me the bad news. "She said only those on the approved list can visit today. Maybe call first next time," he said. I felt as if I'd been punched in the gut. Lily had deliberately excluded me from meeting my own grandson. I left the teddy bear at the reception desk and walked towards the elevator with a straight back, though humiliation burned in my chest. I'd owned this hospital for 35 years, ever since I inherited it from my late husband, Richard. Everyone here knew me, but in Lily's eyes, I was just an outsider. As I drove home, I thought about the past 3 years. When Alex announced he was marrying Lily, I had my reservations, but I bit my tongue. Soon after their wedding, things started to change. During the wedding planning, Lily said the guest list was getting too long and suggested we only invite those really close to them. One by one, she removed my friends from the list. When I tried to keep my old friend, Helen, on it, she laid a guilt trip on me, saying I cared more about my friends than the intimacy of their wedding. I backed down, not wanting to be the difficult mother-in-law. Their honeymoon was supposed to be 2 weeks in Asia, but it stretched to 4. Alex missed important business meetings and family dinners were canceled. When they came back, Alex was different. He became more distant and always said he'd have to check with Lily before committing to anything. Family traditions also started to crumble. Christmas, which used to be a sacred time for our family, was no longer the same. Alex said he and Lily wanted to start their own traditions and suggested we do Christmas Eve instead. Christmas Eve dinner was hollow, with Lily spending most of the time on her phone posting photos. When I suggested a family photo, she declined, saying she wasn't photogenic. Phone calls became less frequent. Alex used to call me every Sunday, but after marriage, those calls dwindled. When I called, Lily often answered and made excuses for Alex. Messages rarely reached him, and return calls were always late and distracted. The final straw was Thanksgiving. Alex said Lily was feeling overwhelmed and needed to avoid stress, so we should do something small. I agreed, worried about her health. But that night, I saw photos of her celebrating with her family on social media. She wasn't too stressed to celebrate, just too stressed to celebrate with me. After being excluded from the hospital, I decided to take action. I first called Helen, who was the former head of the hospital's legal department. I asked her to discreetly look into Lily's background. Then I called Dr. Emily, my personal doctor, and asked if she knew about Lily's so-called health issues. I also hired a private investigator, Mr. Brown, to do a comprehensive background check on Lily. While waiting for the results, I started my own investigation on social media. Lily's Instagram was full of luxurious photos, but I noticed that all the expensive items and vacations started after she met Alex. Before that, her life was much more modest. And in all her posts, I never appeared, even at events where I was present. Helen called me back within 24 hours. We met at a private room in the club. She told me that Lily, whose maiden name was Smith, had worked in a series of low-end retail jobs before meeting Alex. She claimed to have a degree in business from a well-known university, but there was no record of her graduation. Helen also found out that Lily had a pattern of befriending wealthy older customers at her previous job. There was an incident where a customer complained that Lily had accessed her personal information. Mr. Brown's preliminary report was even more shocking. Lily had been meeting regularly with estate planning attorneys, asking about spousal inheritance rights and how to challenge wills. It was clear that she was trying to gain control of my assets through Alex. Armed with this information, I knew I had to be strategic. I first changed my estate plan with the help of my attorney. I established a trust for Ethan with strict conditions and protected Alex's inheritance from Lily's potential claims. I also started to rebuild my relationship with Alex. I sent small, meaningful gifts for Ethan, like a handmade blanket that Richard's mother had made for Alex. Each gift came with a note expressing my love for Ethan and pride in Alex as a father. Slowly, Alex started to open up to me. He told me that Lily was having a hard time adjusting to motherhood and was very anxious. I offered to help, but Lily refused, saying too many caregivers would confuse Ethan. But one day, when Ethan was crying, I managed to calm him down when Lily failed. Alex saw this and started to question Lily's authority. Lily's overconfidence led to her downfall. 2 weeks later, she called me directly and tried to set rules about my access to Alex and Ethan. She also brought up my financial situation, saying I might be taken advantage of and that they should find someone to help me manage my assets. I took out all the evidence I'd gathered and confronted her. I told her to stop lying about my family's medical history, stop limiting my access to my son and grandson, and abandon her scheme for my money. Her face went pale when I mentioned the truth about her past, including a case where she'd changed an elderly woman's will for financial gain. Just then, Alex called her home. She left in a hurry, and soon after, Alex called me over. He apologized for being manipulated by Lily and said he needed some time apart from her. Now, Alex and Ethan are living with me. We've established new traditions, and Alex is more like the son I used to know. Lily tried to fight the divorce, but was defeated by the overwhelming evidence. Ethan called me Nana for the first time the other day, and that sound was the sweetest reward for all I've been through. The war for my family is over, and I've finally regained the peace and love I've always longed for.